Today, I am joined by one of Australia's top wrestling talents. Joining us all the way from Western Australia is former New Horizons Pro Wrestling Art of Fighting champion and Warrior Rising champion. She's also the current Indie Girls Australia champion. Welcome to Pario Magazine, Lena Kross.
Thank you for having me.
Before we sort of dive in deeply into your story, are you able to give us a little bit of an overview and tell our audience a little bit about who you are as a person?
Yeah, I guess so. So obviously grown up in Perth, Western Australia. My day job, I guess, is an occupational therapist outside of wrestling. At the moment, I've been wrestling for about coming on to 5 years since I first came down to training. And that's, used to play basketball before I started wrestling as well. So I guess growing up, I've always been surrounded by athletics, sports, all that sort of stuff. And at the moment, it's pretty much just wrestling and my day job.
Okay. That occupational therapy must come in pretty handy at times.
Yeah, I guess so. You can say that.
When did you sort of first discover wrestling and how?
It would have been, I reckon I would have been about 5 or 6. And I have 2 older brothers and they would watch it on the weekends. They'd have all the figurines. So I'd sit down and watch it with them and I was just drawn to it. And that would probably be my first kind of experience. And then from there, they're a bit older than me. So they kind of grew out of it and it turned into something that I'd watch with my dad. And I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the entertainment, the athleticism, the women particularly I was drawn to, the strong role models there. And then 27 years later, here we are.
Okay, so it's kind of been like a family passion and then it's developed into your own personal passion.
Definitely.
You mentioned some of the women. Who were those early influences that, and how have they changed over the years?
So the first ones that come to my mind are Trish and Lita, and in particular their feud, history defining in a way. And then I think when I was in high school, I guess that passion kind of subsided a little bit. And I started watching reality TV show and Total Divas, and the Bellas actually drew me back in. And I admired their entrepreneurship and ability to just take opportunities and run with it. And then now it's the Charlottes that you can be this strong woman and dominate and just be that role model. And I think that's really important. And yeah, that's why I like wrestling. You can be who you are. You can be so different and you can express yourself in so many different ways.
Has that shift towards the more athletic side of it been exciting for you to witness?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I guess started watching, I never would have envisioned that I could be a professional wrestler. When I was watching as a kid, all I was watching was WWE. I didn't even know there was any sort of independent scene down in Australia. So that dream, I guess, was an impossible dream that I didn't think was a reality. And then the likes of Tennille Dashwood's kind of opened my eyes and go, oh, okay, well, this could be something an Australian girl can dream of. And yeah, seeing the athleticism, I guess, evolve over time and seeing how women can do what the guys do, and giving that opportunity with time as well to actually showcase what we can do.
And then sort of since Tennille, we've seen other Australians head overseas and wrestle now. Does that make it feel like a much more attainable dream even more?
Oh, 100%. Like at the moment, obviously with Steph, oh, not Steph anymore, Persia, and Indy Hartwell, and then Grayson Waller, like, you know, I met them over East at shows, at independent shows, and now they're living their dream and they're absolutely killing it. And that makes me so happy to see, because their wins are just showcasing and shining a light on what Australian wrestling can produce. And it's, yeah, couldn't be happier. And definitely they're, I guess, promoting and also adding to that pathway that Tenille started, but they're adding to it and opening those doors and allowing more opportunities for us here back in Australia to take.
What was it that sort of made you, was there a moment that made you decide, hey, I'm going to go from being a fan and actually participate in training and try to become a wrestler?
Yeah, at that point I'd been playing basketball for about 10 years, I think. And I was getting a little bit bored. I felt like I wasn't going any further. My passion for wrestling had really started again. And a lot of personal things were going on in my life, and it was kind of an eye-opener that life's very short, and that you've got to just take opportunities. You've got to really do what you want, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be 50, 60, 70 and have any of these regrets. So that kind of pushed me to go, let's just give it a go. I've had this dream since a little kid, that this is something I want to do, and just took the leap, jumped on Google and sent an email and went down. So it was a pretty big challenge, I think. Big step out of my comfort zone, because obviously I didn't know anyone in that area. I hadn't been to any local shows. And yeah, just went down and never looked back, really.
I guess it was lucky that Perth has some pretty amazing talent over there to train with.
Yeah, definitely. So Aaron O'Malley was, I guess, my first trainer on that first day that took the tryout day. And he's now in the UK, which is amazing. And he's incredible. I couldn't speak more highly of him. And then obviously with Mana being the owner of NHPW and the opportunities he's provided me, I'm very grateful for all of them.
And yeah, as I mentioned, you have held a number of championships in NHPW, namely the Art of Fighting Championship most recently. That's a title that has been held by some pretty prestigious names: Julian Ward, Michael Morleone, Adam Cole, Chris Vice, and Homicide in the past. How special was that achievement for yourself?
It was really special. I think on top of that, being the first female to hold it as well, to have my name alongside all of those names alone is a pretty cool thing to happen. But again, being that first female, and I guess showing that females can just do what guys can do. They can be on that same level. And I think that's something that I want to be able to do with wrestling, is to show that we can be equals, regardless of gender. You know, we can be on that same level. We can put matches together on that. Yeah, so that was an amazing opportunity. Obviously, Rory Holmes is the current champion now, and I think he'll be doing great things in the future there. But yeah, to have my name against those guys and to kind of have that history with that belt, I feel very grateful for that opportunity.
I imagine it was special going into the main event holding that title as well.
Yeah, yeah. The TLC main event you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. And Rory Holmes and Rogan Kargas. I guess me and Rogan, our pathways have been kind of just alongside of each other. Like, we started at the exact same time. I've probably had some of my best matches with him. So it was really special to share that moment with those two boys. And hopefully I'm hoping we put a good match on and showcase what we can do here in Perth.
And obviously, intergender wrestling comes with a bit of a negative stigma attached to it, but it doesn't seem like it's an issue for you. Do you feel it's time we sort of maybe do away with gender roles in wrestling?
My opinion is 100%. I think, the negative perception around intergender, I can try see from different people's perspectives and their opinions and why they think it might be negative. But if you can tell the right story, then that's wrestling. It's the same thing with both males. It doesn't look believable. I'm a 6 foot person. I'm probably on par with looking similar to most male wrestlers, especially in Perth. To me, I don't think that believable thing is relevant when I step in the ring with a male, and it's more about telling that story. I think definitely the way wrestling is going, there's going to be a lot more intergender opportunities, and there already is compared to 10 years ago, 5 years ago, which is exciting because there's so many more things you can do, obviously with a female male matchup. There's so many doors you can open, so many things you can try, compared to if you're just doing a male, female. So I think a lot of doors will open. You'll see more things. Looking at, just off the top of my head, because I've only been watching some of it, is the Lucha Underground matches where they did the intergender, and some of those matches were absolute fire. Like, the things they did were incredible that you're not seeing really anywhere else. And I think that's exciting because I feel like there's a lot of things that are untouched still in wrestling.
Yeah, it opens up a lot more creativity in terms of the storytelling as well. Like, for me personally, I've seen in PWA, my local promotion there, they've totally done away with it, and it's worked out well. And I think, if anything, it's helped the girls grow as wrestlers as well, and they've improved leaps and bounds since they've done that.
100%. PWA have kind of, I guess, been that front runners in the sense, especially when they announced that there's no gender belts. Any wrestler can go for any belts. And to my knowledge, I believe that's kind of the first in this country where that's happened. So they're definitely at the front runner, and they're doing such an amazing job. That whole company is just top tier, honestly. They're on a whole nother level sometimes, I feel.
Yeah, well, we saw Paris going viral again recently, so that was another crazy moment.
Yeah.
And just as sort of COVID hit in that first wave, you were just beginning to branch out over here into places like PWA. You got to wrestle Steph, Persia, Parada, Shazza McKenzie, Jessica Troy, and Kingsley. How disappointing was it for you when that was all sort of forced to come to a halt through no fault of your own?
Yeah, I think when it initially happened, I don't think anyone would have thought that 2 years later we're still living with these restrictions and in the midst of a pandemic, and there's third, fourth wave, whatever you want to call it. So I think initially when it happened, it was kind of just like, oh, okay, well, I was supposed to go to Japan anyway in that May of 2020, which obviously didn't happen. But I think looking back now, it's is a little bit disappointing, but it doesn't mean that that progress is, I guess, halted. I guess moving forward, that's a goal of mine this year, is to get back over east, and try take off or pick up from where I was at the start of 2020. But yeah, but you can't really do much about it. I guess the whole world stopped. So it wasn't just me in that sense. Everyone kind of had a bit of a back step. I guess I'm fortunate being in Perth, where we've been able to live quite a normal life without restrictions. So in regards to wrestling, I've been able to wrestle a lot over the past 2 years compared to, Melbourne in particularly, and even Sydney. So there are advantages and disadvantages, I guess, with it.
And is Japan somewhere that's on your sights coming up in the next year or two as well?
Definitely. Unfortunately, the government still isn't allowing any international visas. So hopefully that changes sometime soon. But definitely Japan is up there with where I want to go and experience that whole culture and just the opportunities that would promote with that.
And then when you do get to come back over to the East Coast, are there any girls that you have your sights set on? Or guys even?
Honestly, anyone and everyone, that whole PWA roster. And with Frankie just debuting, I'd love to step in the ring with her, Kingsley, in a singles match. I think that would be really good. I've faced Kingsley in a tag, but not a singles. I think Jess Troy, we had 2 singles when I was over there, and in my eyes, they were really good matches. And I think 2 years later, we can grow on that and do something even better. I'd really like to step in the ring with Delta. I think she's come out blazing, and just a big girl fight, I think, would be awesome with her.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that Steph's gone now and we missed out on the Steph, Lena and Delta match.
Yeah.
Until then, do you have goals in WA that you want to achieve and things you would like to do there?
Honestly, I think I've done a lot here in WA, and I think I am ready to, I guess, move on from here, especially with Perth being so isolated from the rest of Australia and the rest of the world for that. I think it's a lot harder to I guess move forward, or not harder, but I think slower compared to if you're based over east, just because there's so many more opportunities and it's so much more accessible that you can go, jump from one state to the next, and the flight's only like an hour or an hour and a half,
and relatively cheap.
If you're coming from Perth, you're on a plane for 4 to 5 hours, and it's more expensive to fly to Melbourne than I think from it is to Melbourne to Perth, and you can get to New Zealand from Melbourne. So there's a lot of more, I guess, barriers to kind of jump through. Not saying you can't get there. You can definitely get there if you're based in Perth. But I'm really just wanting to be more accessible and open to have those opportunities come a lot easier. But like you said, like within NHPW, I've just now lost, but held the Art of Fighting Championship, which is the highest championship there. I've held the Indie Girls Championship for, I don't even know, but I think it's over
a few hundred days now.
I think it's over 1,000 days. I think I won that in 2019. So it's been a fair while there. And I mean, the opportunities that they've given me and the people that I've had the opportunity to wrestle has been next to none. But I think in my journey now, I would like to move away from Perth and really see what other places have to offer.
Would you consider like relocating to the East Coast, or is that hard with your day job, I guess?
No, that is definitely something I'm, I guess, trying to work through and find a way that I can do it. I guess with my day job, I'm quite lucky because there's, like contracts I can do, like short-term contracts. So that's kind of how I did relocate when I was relocated in Newcastle at the start of 2020. I actually was relocated for work and was working my day job and then got to wrestle as well. So it was a bit of a win-win. So if I can do that, that would be the, I guess, best option. And then second best would just, I'll make it work. But that's definitely something I'd like to do 2020 or this year, even if it's short term.
Okay, perfect. And then in like the long-term goals is making wrestling a full-time career, the ultimate dream.
Oh, definitely. If I could travel the world and wrestle, that would be, I think I'd die happy. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of steps to take before you can get there. And there's a lot of things that I would like to do as well.
Okay, perfect. And then finally, where's the best place for people to support you and track your journey moving forward?
So I guess I'm probably most active on Instagram, where you can find me at Lena_Kross with a K. And then it's the same on Twitter. And I don't really use Facebook, but yeah, Instagram's probably the best way to follow where I'm at and see where this year takes me.
And are you on the Wrestler Merch website as well?
Yes, I am. I do need to update my merch, so that's a good reminder.
Okay, perfect. We'll put that link in there and hopefully there'll be some new stuff in there by the time the magazine comes out.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you so much for your time and good luck, and hopefully we'll see you over here sooner rather than later.
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you for having me.